Hi, I'm Alexa Hall from Google Cloud for Startups, and I'm joined today by SaLisa Berrien, who's the CEO of COI Energy, which is an energy savings company. I'm really excited to have her here for a fireside chat to talk about how she uses Google tools. And we're celebrating Black History Month, so we're stoked to have a Black founder with a really strong tech stack join us for this conversation. So with that, SaLisa, I will let you go ahead and introduce yourself.
Thank you, Alexa. I am delighted to be here today and celebrating Black History Month with you and the Google family. COI Energy is a digital energy management platform that detects, prevents, and eliminates energy waste in buildings in order to repurpose or reuse that waste to help solve huge problems like grid optimization, what we're seeing in Texas right now. We solve for that, for repurposing clean energy for underserved and disadvantaged communities. And also in order for us to really reduce our carbon footprint. So we're driving efficiency to reduce carbon footprint in protecting our environment.
That is amazing. Can you talk a little bit about COI's business model and sort of who are your customers and who are your partners?
Yes, so we sell to businesses. So we're a business to business platform. So from your largest industrial customer down to your smallest, like small to medium business, for instance, a nursing home or acute care hospital, to US foods, like a cold storage facility, to data centers. We have a plethora of diverse customers on our platform, including real estate properties as well. And so our business model is we charge our customers a one-time activation fee and a monthly subscription. And basically, we decided to do it that way because we wanted to customize the solution for each customer. So when you think of like a large industrial down to your small to medium business, their needs are different. So when you come on a platform, if you think of it like E-Trade, you basically just can utilize whatever service level you want. If you need more features, you can purchase that. And if you don't, you can go with no frills. And so we customize it to meet customers where they're at.
That's amazing. Can you talk about your background, how you came up with the idea, and how you decided that you're the person that needed to fix this problem this way?
So I have over 25 years experience in the energy field. I started working straight out of college at electric utilities, so the integrated or vertically integrated utilities. And then my last 15 years working in the energy space, I worked for startups. And so I worked at 4 different startups before starting COI Energy. And basically my experience has always been the front line with customers. So really hearing from them what the challenges they had, and just their frustrations and complaints that they felt that those challenges weren't being met. So what I did was I took my experience on the utility side, on the startup side, including that with my experience with them, the customers, and said, okay, here's a gap and let's fill that gap. And I felt that I was most qualified to do it because I heard from the customers. And so when I launched this company, it was an iteration from what I heard from customers. And then even when we did our beta testing, we did refinement based on what we were hearing and how they were using our platform. And so, I mean, this is the time, this is a prime time. And I could tell you with digital energy management, 4 years ago, people weren't as excited because we weren't in a pandemic. Now you could see it's totally changed the game. Folks realize that there is a need to have immediate information, the transparency that you need to make decisions. So when you basically have a mass exodus of your tenants in your buildings and you go from 100% occupancy down to 10%, you're not still paying the same high bill. And that's, if you looked at the pandemic, a lot of businesses faced that. They were like, oh, we only have 10% occupancy and our bill only reduced 16%. Why is that? So we give them a real line of sight so they can see how they're using energy. And then we make the recommendations on how they can make those changes.
That's amazing. So I think definitely in there, one of the threads was how you use data for transparency so that people can really understand their energy usage, but also maybe where energy might be wasted. Can you talk about how you take that information to customers that are enterprise customers and convince them to use maybe some of those savings that they get from those insights to serve underserved communities?
Yeah, so I got to tell you, when we were part of the Google for Startups cohort, we were able to add additional features on our platform. So, with the learning and artificial intelligence technology, more specifically, the Google Cloud Vision API and also the Auto ML national language that we're utilizing, it helps us provide our customers with a simple engagement, and it's fast, so they're able to kind of see, where there's opportunities for them to save. And so just think about it from, a customer perspective. They're now getting these huge savings that they never saw before, and it's like this huge opportunity for them. And then there's these underserved or marginalized communities that are most negatively impacted by climate change. And there's like, oh, right on this platform, I don't have to really take anything out of my pocket. I can divert some of my savings and give it to these communities to help them have access to clean energy. And so it's all about equitable access, because we know energy poverty is real. Over a third of our population in the United States is experiencing it. And so our platform, we embed in every kilowatt hour that we save people, energy's justice and energy poverty eradication is all embedded into that process.
And I heard you say something before about the actual amount that people who are in underserved communities are paying for energy, and that there's a disparity there. Can you? I don't remember the exact number, but can you say a little bit about that? Because I found that really interesting and poignant.
Yeah, so what a lot of folks don't realize, it's like I'm on the same electric grid as individuals in marginalized communities, and they're paying 3 times more for their electricity than the national average. Why is that? It's because they don't have efficient equipment inside their homes. They don't have access to clean energy or renewable energy. And so I truly believe, and the COI Energy team believes, that everyone deserves a right to live a dignified life. And a part of that dignity comes with having equitable access to clean energy. I mean, we all deserve to have that. And so when you look at that average and it's like, okay, why are they paying 3 times more? It's like, it doesn't really make sense. And then they're the same people that are having health conditions because these power plants are built in their backyard. And so we are privileged that we don't have to live with those those conditions. And so we believe that it's our right to make sure that we provide that access to others to have clean access.
That's amazing. I want to kind of dig in a little bit more on the business model question, because I know that a lot of companies, a lot of startups that I work with at Google and outside of Google are super concerned with getting customers, enterprise customers, and gaining partners. So, can you talk about, from a business development standpoint, how you thought about building that pipeline of larger customers and larger partners?
Yeah, so our journey, COI stands for Circle of Influence. So just to start out the gate, everything we do keeps in mind the people we have around us and the organizations. And so we intentionally built out our business with partners that we felt would be supporters and helping us move forward. So when you just think about the problem we're solving, businesses have a huge energy waste problem. They waste 30% of the energy they consume. In 2017, that was $55 billion that was wasted, not used, but wasted. And so if you just think about that waste and turning that into like how much carbon was emitted into our environment, that was over 300 million metric tons of carbon that was emitted into our environment. So we take that waste and we're solving this problem for a lot of your enterprise customers that are saying, we want to be carbon neutral by 2050, or we want to be carbon negative. And so now we're giving them an opportunity to reach those carbon goals, improve the efficiency in their buildings, and at the same time generate revenue by doing this. And then that revenue that they're generating, there's this opportunity where a piece of that is going to these underserved communities, because most of our enterprise customers, or the majority of them, they're really interested in seeing how they can bring about social justice, environmental justice and energy justice. And so we have intertwined that into our solutions. So every kilowatt hour is going to good.
That's amazing. Um, I have a question about how you think about the electric grid, what needs to change overall, because of course you're one company working on this problem and there are many different players in the space. So I'm curious about what you think needs to happen with the electric grid in general, and also how you think COI Energy is different in the market. What are you guys bringing that is special to this space and how you're approaching the problem?
Yeah, so from the energy, just where energy is going and where it needs to go, we need to get to a place that everybody just uses the energy they need, and what they don't need, they can repurpose it for something else. So either they could use it for another building. If they have 100 buildings in a portfolio and one building short, they can give that extra from one building to another. Or they can, like we said, gift it to these underserved communities. Having a transactive marketplace that brings about that kind of change where people say, okay, this is all I'm using right now. So everyone has a clear line of sight of what they need to meet their needs, and then what extra they have that they can give to other people. And a lot of people say, what do you mean by extra, SaLisa? I only pay for what I use, but that's not the case. With the energy grid, if you spike your energy for 15 minutes, just 15 minutes in a whole month, you're still being paid at that level. So the utility has to make sure they have that much capacity available for you. A lot of people don't understand that piece. And so that's where there's these big power plants that they have to have idling, just waiting to meet those peaks. And so it makes more sense if we can have the businesses operate more efficiently and the grid operate more efficiently, because what that does, it reduces the carbon footprint on both sides of the equation, but it also helps businesses improve their energy performance and make money while doing it. And so there's a whole lot into that. And then you think about the underserved communities, right? I come from energy poverty. That's my background. So when I thought about building this company, I built it with the mindset of, I've seen over 25 years in my energy career, all of the waste that was happening. And if you just look at that $55 billion that was wasted in 2017 and think about what marginalized communities can use to do with that money, I mean, that would have helped my family. We wouldn't have had to have our lights out during times when I needed to study for school or what have you. So for me, that's why supporting underserved communities, disadvantaged communities is most important to me. And that's how we started this business from day one. So we look at educating our customers in order for them to be able to be empowered to make a difference on how they use their energy, and then have a positive impact, not only on their business, but the community and the environment.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think a lot of the things you brought up, what's going on in Texas right now, and also the fact that a lot of underserved communities are, on the one hand, paying too much for their utilities based on what they're using, but also experiencing, the effects of being in environments where there's a refinery close by, or, the the environment is being affected by our energy use, but they're not really seeing the benefit of it. I think that's something that I've experienced, my family's experienced, and part of the reason why I'm passionate about tech solutions for cities and for city infrastructure, because I think that there's a lot of opportunity and work to be done. But it takes people who have that sort of lived experience to find solutions for people who are marginalized. So I think all of this really makes sense and is timely and is an incredible approach. I do have a question about your company as a startup, and I know that you're a really data heavy company. You're using machine learning, AI, you're using Google Cloud, you're using all of sort of these cutting edge technologies to make your company more efficient business wise. So how do you staff for that? And what kind of team do you have right now that's supporting all of these incredible areas in your business?
Yeah, that's a great question, Alexa. So we have 17 members of our team, seven of them full time, of course, because we're a startup, and 10 of them are part time. And I've really leveraged the relationships that we have with our partners like Google. So when we started doing the machine learning and the artificial intelligence, the Google team sat aside our engineers and actually walked through, like, okay, this is the best way to integrate this. Like, this is how you can get it fastest to market. And I got to tell you, just during our time at Google last year, the last 3 months of the year, we were able to push out new features to sell to the market at a faster pace than we have in our 5 year history. And so I'm really thankful that Google uh, allowed their employees to actually work alongside of us to achieve those types of goals. And so we look at our whole ecosystem, our partners, from the incubators, accelerators to the corporates, everyone that's really helped us get to this point. They have helped elevate us in a way where they've been extension to our sales team, they have been extension to our engineering team, they have been extension to our operations team. I mean, it's mind-boggling when you look at what we've accomplished with so few full-time people, but it's because of the network we have around us we were able to do that.
That's absolutely startup life. And I'm sure if you go to COI Energy's social or their website or see what they're doing, it seems like they have, at least a 50-person team. But I think the important thing to keep in mind for startups is that, even you as a CEO, you're wearing many different hats and doing a lot of things right now for the company to move your growth forward. And that's obviously enhanced by partners. So, speaking of partners that you've been able to garner, I know you've been going for 5 years. You mentioned this is your 5 year anniversary when we were speaking earlier. And I'm curious about how you've been able to grow during COVID and what kind of wins you've seen, even as we're going through this global pandemic, and there are all of these things where it's making it really hard for businesses to keep their doors open. What have you been able to do to secure stronger partnerships and to continue to grow, even in this environment?
So as we all know, energy is fundamental to living a quality life. And so everything that we do ties into that. So when you think about the pandemic, at the early stage of the pandemic, people were like, oh my God, we don't know what we're going to do. We're putting everything on pause. And then all of a sudden, I'm starting to get calls because, oh, you're a digital energy management platform. So you don't have to interact with my employees and we can get this installed and up and running like in a short period of time. I'm like, yes. So some businesses that previously passed on us now came back and I was like, this is a great opportunity and we're interested in getting in. So we recently just signed, I mean, our anniversary, we turned 5 years old on February 8th. And during that week, we signed a $20 million deal. And I mean, a huge deal. And it's because there's a recognition that this type of solution is needed. And I think it all happened before what happened in Texas, but Texas has amplified why solutions like the COI optimizer is vitally important to the grids across the country and across the globe. And so we're not just working with companies here in the US. We have a partnership with SAP. SAP, we're a part of their cloud, the App Center, and their salespeople are selling us in the Eastern Europe and Africa, different places. So, I mean, we are global and their globalness happens through our partnerships. So they're able to sell our solutions directly for us.
And who was that big deal that you just signed? Because I think you can say it now, right?
I almost could say it right now. So I'm going to, there's been several more and I'm going to wait until the big announcements comes on the press release. So guys, stay tuned and you'll hear an announcement within the next couple of weeks on that deal.
That's great. That actually leads me into my next question, which is about the platform itself. So if people want to stay in contact with you, how do they do that? And what do people experience when they go to the COI Energy website? Like, what can they expect to find there?
Yeah, so you definitely can check us out on all the social media platforms on COI Energy or COI Optimizer, and then our website, coienergyservices.com. And when you go there, you're going to find some information on how we are making a difference, how we're helping businesses improve their energy performance, but also how we're helping them give back to the communities that they service. And so you can go and sign up for our newsletter on the website. You can ask any questions and someone will reach out to you. And if you're a business and you're looking to partner with us, I mean, data centers are great opportunities on our platform. I mean, as well as all the other customers that I talked to you about. But you can just go there and you can sign up to become a customer as well.
Thank you so much for that. And while we're talking a little bit about growth and partnerships, I noticed that you have a fundraise on Republic right now. So, can you talk about why you chose Republic, who can invest, and what you'll do with that investment once you close that campaign?
Yes, Alexa, that's a great one. So we chose Republic because we recognized that it was vitally important that we democratize the way that individuals are able to invest in clean tech companies. So prior to us getting on the Republic platform, your average person could not invest in our company. So now my friends, my neighbors, they can invest as little as $100 into the company, whereas prior to that, you had to be a qualified investor, and so we were working with only VCs. I'm super excited about it because what happens with this is now that people that are passionate about climate tech and making the world better for future generations, they are like, I have $100 and I want to invest in this because this is what I believe in. So now you get this huge following. So if you look at the investors that we have on Republic, we have over 1,000 investors. And the beauty of it, it's only one line on our cap table. So a lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to do this crowdsourcing because I'm going to have like 1,000 lines on my cap table. With Republic, it's one line. And so we're able to make an impact. We're able to democratize on the need for underserved and marginalized communities to see there's a way that they can get into the investment game. They don't have to have a whole lot of money. And so for me, it was important for me to open that up to other people, especially people that look like me.
I think that makes sense for the way you run your company, the reasons you got into doing energy work as a founder and not just working for larger companies and figuring out a way to do it that, obviously is going to be incredibly impactful and is also incredibly lucrative for your future investors. But including sort of everyday people in that process seems really appropriate to how you think about this business. And as we sit here having this conversation during Black History Month, we know that there is a lot more room for people of color to get involved in tech and not just as consumers. And so I think it's great that you're offering up a piece of your company, which is really, a piece of your success. This is your continued success, which I think is, just going to keep going from here after COVID ends. So I want to sort of just end on one thing. I'm curious for you as a founder during COVID, even though things are going relatively well, being away from your team physically most of the time, what do you kind of do, or who do you listen to, or who do you have around you that keeps you inspired and keeps you motivated to keep going while you're building this company? Because I know it can be a challenge at times.
So for every founder, I will tell you that if you're not in a founder circle and you don't have a team of founders that you're meeting with on a regular basis, you're missing out. So I'm a part of several groups where founders, we get together. In some cases, it's monthly. Other cases, it might be bi-monthly. And we have each other on auto dial. So we can just call each other up if we're having a challenge. Actually, two founders yesterday, we were talking about like different parts of our solutions and how, somebody needs help with this or that. And we look to see how we could help and support each other. Google has a group of like all of the women founders, the Black founders. So I'm a part of those groups. And, every day people are just offering up support. And like, it's always, it's not just a take, it's a give. And that's really important. Founder therapy is important to me. I do meditation. That's very important to start my day, because our days are just like wired and they're fast. A lot of people say, "Wow, SaLisa, you're a little crazy." These Type A personalities, and you know what? I embrace that now because I realize a lot of people that are like me. We have this Type A personality, and we would actually deny it because it didn't sound cool. Like, and then I'm a STEM professional too. Like, I have a STEM background, so I'm just like not the norm on any level. And it's okay. And I want to say that to founders that are geeks. I love being a geek. For me, it's cool. I mean, I don't look and sound like everybody else, and I'm now okay with it. Whereas before, I wasn't so okay with it because it always had a negative connotation. But now, like when people are seeing founders and people like myself that are out there really making a difference and trying to make the world better with the resources that we have, it's okay to embrace who we are.
That's fantastic. Are there any last thoughts you want to add? That was it for my questions. Do you have any questions for me or anything like that? This would be the time to do it.
Well, I first want to thank Google. Google has done an amazing job, and they continue to do an amazing job in uplifting all voices, not just one voice. So I appreciate that. And I appreciate you lifting COI Energy's voice during Black History Month. As you know, like this is the 75th anniversary of Black History Week, and it's the 50th anniversary of Black History Month. And to be able to share our story during a time like this means a whole lot, because I know that my ancestors, my grandmother and my mom, like this is their wildest dream. Like they would have never thought that their little girl would have an opportunity on a stage to share how we're making a difference in the world and how we're trying to make it better for generations to come. So we won't see all the good that we're doing today, but the generations to come will see that. And so I'm thankful for partners like Google that knows that it's important to elevate those voices and elevate these tech companies that are truly out there making a difference. So thank you for the opportunity. People, anybody interested in working for a startup, we're hiring. So check out our website for the jobs that are out there. Follow us on the social media platforms. You'll start seeing, we're going to be blogging. So we have a blog that just started about a week ago. So start following us there. So we're trying to get people to stop and spend some time with focusing on energy. The average person spends 8 minutes a year thinking about energy, whereas that same person spends over 2 hours a day on social media. So we're trying to increase the amount of time that people think about energy. And so follow us just to learn more on how we all can do better.
You have the best stats. I didn't know that 8 minutes thinking about energy, but a million hours on social media. So at least part of that should be also thinking about energy because we need it to use social media. So thank you so much. Thank you everyone who is watching this. If you want to learn more about COI Energy, Google Cloud, Google Developer Tools, everything Google's doing to help startups, I will put the links below, and stay tuned for more news from both of our groups. Thank you. Have a great day, SaLisa.